nonstop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
3 teams have been 15-1 in the history of the National Football League. All right, give yourselves a round of applause.
Oh, maybe. Well, the math doesn't check out for 2022. You can't go 15-1 now, but maybe this is the surprise team that 1998 was. We'll see. A lot of people feel that way after week 1. They could also just go into Monday night and get smoked by the Eagles, and we're kind of back to where we started. This is Purple Daily, daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die, and every single Saturday, we pick the Vikings game. We make our official picks. We give you kind of a market perspective. What are some of the sports books saying? Some of the smart people about what might happen in this game. And we're going to add another wrinkle to this show as well off the top. But a shout out to our friends over at TCL, one of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands. They have a new lineup of award-winning TVs delivering the most entertainment with stunning resolution, all at an affordable cost. Enjoy more of the things you love with TCL. And also a shout out to our friends, the official undergarment of Mackie and Judd and Purple Daily, Chill Boys. And Dex, you mentioned earlier this week, yeah, that's the Chill Boys hooded sweatshirt. Dude, the T-shirt I had on a couple days ago.
Usually, I need a T-shirt underneath a hoodie. I'm not just a hoodie underneath, the bare skin kind of guy. Chill Boys, though. It's
you're
my entire perspective
right now.
Bare chested underneath this. Here, no, I'm not going to show you.
No,
but the hoodie, the performance brand, the bamboo fabric. Whether I'm on the golf course or I'm recording podcasts, it has changed my entire perspective on underwear. Love me some Chill Boys.
Can I talk about the socks?
Yeah,
pretty comfortable.
I love those socks. Yes. And by the way, I love a good pair of socks. Just snug on your feet. Feels great. I love good socks. Chill Boys has good socks.
Chill Boys cares about one thing, your comfort. Chillboys.com, Minnesota-based company. Tell them Purple Daily sent you over. All right, boys, we're going to get into our official picks, and we'll get into what the sports books are saying about what may happen on Monday night. But let's go around the room here, starting with Judd. What is your hottest take about what will happen in the Vikings-Eagles game?
My hottest take is this, and I don't know if it's exactly what is going to happen, but given where we're at, the excitement after week 1, and the fact that I do agree, Phil, as you said on PD previously, this feels different. My hottest take is this. This is the most important game of the season, the regular season, for the Vikings, and here's why. Wow. If you go into Philadelphia, now ordinarily in week 2, like week 2 of the Kevin O'Connell regime next year, I would never say this, all right? But with the momentum that you have off of 1 game and 4 quarters, and I understand, sample size, incredibly small, but you are going in to play a playoff team, good quarterback, hostile as hell environment in a night game. It is the perfect stew of basically, if you come out of there with a win, I think it is early, but I think it's safe to say this feels not just different, but potentially special. To your point at the start of the show, Phil, if you go in and get smoked, you're going to be like, oh, okay, that's a setback. It's not going to be a death knell, but it's definitely going to change the feeling that we had coming out of week 1. But when you beat the Packers at home the way that the Vikings did, which is impressive, if you now go and play a team on the road in Philadelphia in a night game where everyone is going to be basically hammered, and Philadelphia is a good team, I think we're going to be talking about like whoa, this now, because I'm not there yet, but I think it becomes much simpler to say this doesn't just feel different, it feels potentially special if you are 2-0 and your 2 wins are Green Bay and at Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I think this is the most important regular season game on the Vikings schedule.
You know what? That's that is a hot take, but everything you just laid out is correct. That it doesn't make or break the season either way, because at the end of the day, you're going to be 1-1. But I think it'll largely shape what you think about this team. If they lose, it's kind of okay. Yeah, that's right. It's a new head coach, and road games are going to be tough, and Kirk on Monday night, and some of the old themes, but it doesn't derail their season. So I'm gonna kind of piggyback off you here a little bit, because I think I'm not going to give away my pick yet, but I will give away something that I think is going to happen in this game. So all of the attention is going to be on Justin Jefferson. If you're the Eagles and you watched what happened last week, how can you not spend half of your week defensively figuring out, okay, this dude is ridiculous. He's an insane route runner. He was just streaking wide open for half of that game against the Packers. How can we prevent him from beating us? And my hottest take is, despite the fact that the Eagles are going to spend half their week game planning for Justin Jefferson, he is still going to destroy them. And I think for anyone who doesn't believe he's the best receiver in the NFL, you're going to have the East Coast fans watching this game. It's the Eagles fans. You're going to get all the East Coast. Now, there's 2 Monday night games, which is weird. We know why that is, by the way.
I don't
Did they double book on accident?
Part of the new package.
Yeah.
Part of the
NBC
new
and
package.
ESPN. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is like this is the game, right? This is the ABC game. This is Philadelphia.
Aikman are on this one.
Yep. This is the big boy game here. Okay. And I think under the lights, anyone who doesn't think he's the best receiver in the NFL, much like Randy Moss breakout against the Packers in 1998, I don't know that he's going to put up the same numbers he did last week, but he's going to have a huge game in the face of all of this. That is my hottest take. And it will prove to the world, oh, yeah, Jamar Chase is nice, Cooper Kupp is nice, but this is the guy, right? Devontae Adams is nice too, but this is the guy right here.
Yeah, I like it.
My hottest take would be that Ed Donatell's defense is going to suffocate Jalen Hurts.
Wow.
So Jalen Hurts has the ability to bail out plays with his legs. In fact, I think if you keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket, that's good, because I don't think he really has the arm strength and technique to beat you. He's a decent quarterback, but he bails out plays with his legs. He can scramble all around. He's one of the best mobile quarterbacks in the NFL. But regardless, if the Vikings can either keep him and collapse in the pocket and he has to force to make a dumb decision, or if you put a type of spy on him, whether that's an Eric Kendricks or some type of linebacker, or even someone like Zadarius Smith or Daniil Hunter trying to spy him and trying to ground and pound him, I think actually Ed Donatell's defense has the capabilities to ground and basically pluck the feathers off of Jalen Hurts of the Eagles' starting quarterback. It actually won't be that big of a deal. He might bail out a 3rd and 5 here and there, and that's okay. But I think mostly Ed Donatell's defense is going to find ways to suffocate Jalen Hurts, where he will not be able to dagger you too much with his legs and his arm.
You know, Aaron Rodgers said after that game last week that the Vikings were just throwing all of these looks that I couldn't decipher. And some of this is, the Vikings have the advantage of new offensive and defensive schemes, no film, because they didn't run any of these guys out there in the preseason. So there's a lot of mystery. The Eagles can probably learn from some of the things the Vikings did defensively in the first week, but they've got the first month is kind of this free pass with no film on this team. It's part of the reason why the 98 Vikings burst out of the gate, the 1999 Rams on offense, right? And that applies to defense too. You don't really know what these guys are doing. You don't know how they're going to use Daniil Hunter, Zadarius Smith. So, yeah, I think this is going to wind up being a pretty high. So I wouldn't be shocked if this was a shootout, much like a couple of those games we saw in the first season of Kirk back in 2018. Another thing to consider here is the return of Jalen Reagor to Philadelphia. Definitely going to get some punt return opportunities. I don't know if he's going to get sprinkled into the offense, but could he, with a chip on his shoulder, have a big punt return in this game? Could he make an impact in some way, vindictively?
Play a few plays.
Maybe get him out there.
Target. To Dex's point, I'm curious on Hurts because he rushed for 90 yards against Detroit in week 1. And the Vikings, like one of the few things that they didn't do well on Sunday against the Packers was stop the run. And that was not from the quarterback, but, from their running back. So I'm curious to see what they dial up and if they're going to sacrifice somewhere else to try and stop Hurts, because you can't let him run. Dex is right. I also object greatly because Declan said he threw out the opportunity or the possibility of the Vikings putting a spy on Hurts, and I did not hear the football sounder. As a guy who was removed,
my bad.
As a guy who was removed from the button bar, forcibly taken out of the chair, I'm very offended.
I was at the same time, I was trying to pull up the 2022 Coach of the Year website when Declan said that, and we'll get to that as well. But that is my fault. I apologize.
Anyway,
yes, it was necessary.
I'm glad. Thank you.
Speaking of Coach of the Year, let's get into this real quick, and then we'll get into the market perspective, what sportsbooks are saying about Vikings Eagles. We'll make our official pick. But VegasInsider.com has, this is as of yesterday, updated NFL Coach of the Year odds. They have 4 guys tied at 7.5 to 1. Kevin O'Connell, Brandon Staley, Mike McDaniel, Brian Dable. And then there's a fairly big jump to Nick Sirianni, who's coaching in this game, at 12 to 1. And then a bunch of 20 to 1s. Nathaniel Hackett, Dan Campbell, Doug Peterson, Kevin Stefanski, Frank Reich. Nathaniel Hackett should be lower than that after what happened last week.
Yes.
I know it's one game, but yeah, what do you guys make of Kevin O'Connell, Brandon Staley, Mike McDaniel, Brian Dable, all tied at 7.5 to 1, leading candidates for NFL Coach of the Year?
Optimism reigns, baby. Optimism reigns. Week 1, your team looks good, and I think this game is just so important from an optics view. Like, I'm so curious to see what this game looks like if the Vikings win, it does make a very cliche alert, intriguing statement at least, because it's going to show a toughness. Like, the one thing that impressed me that we haven't talked about a lot against the Packers, but I think it showed through, and it's weird because O'Connell comes off as like way more of a nice guy than Mike did. But, the Vikings played a pretty tough game. And there were a lot of times in recent years where it felt like they didn't play tough. Like they started, going back to the loss to the Niners in the playoff game, it felt like they sort of got their ass kicked, right? And I thought that against the Packers, I thought the Vikings looked pretty damn stout. And I think that that's a big thing here, because if you can go, again, into Philadelphia, a night game with that crowd and that team, and you can meet them, at the very least, punch for punch, that's going to send a really interesting message about a mental toughness to your team.
Yes.
That I think we can flat out say the last 2 or 3 years has not been there. And so O'Connell, I think that the O'Connell odds are fair now, but this week in the game coming up on Monday is going to do a lot more to me to help sort of crystallize where I think things are at.
The Eagles, and this is just kind of, I'm painting with a broad brush here, but just looking at power rankings analytically and subjectively, the Eagles are very widely regarded as one of the 6 or 7 best teams in the league after the offseason hype, the trade for A.J. Brown, and then a great week 1 offensive performance, a win on the road against Detroit. So this is the type of game where you go on the road and it's Monday night and you're facing, a top 5 or 6 team in the league and a team that can score points and punch you. This is not a game that Vikings fans generally feel confident going into. So can you change some of that narrative and reality by going in and getting a win against a widely regarded top 6 or 7 team? Those fans also, they used to wear those dog masks. I don't know if they still do that.
I don't think they do in Philadelphia anymore, yeah.
It was like a 1-year trend where they would all just wear dog masks and
Kelce,
scare the crap out of people. Jason Kelce.
Yeah, I think he
Hurts, I think.
Started that whole trend.
Now you guys are just naming random Eagles from 5 years
ago. No, Jason
ago.
Kelce, I'm pretty sure.
Todd Pinkston. Freddie Mitchell.
Yeah, Todd Pinkston.
Deuce Staley.
What a
Hank
bust as a
Basket.
Viking.
Yeah.
Todd Pinkston, man. Woo.
We should put those dog masks back on those Eagles fans and then slide a bowl of Nutrisource chicken and rice in front of them. The official dog food of Mackie and Judd and Purple Daily. As you'll see on the screen on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, click subscribe. Thank you, Maya Mackey, licking her chops, jumping around with excitement, hovering over a giant scoop of Nutrisource, Judd.
The tongue out's the best part of this video.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. The slow-mo is so good. It's awesome.
Very excited.
5:55 a.m. Central this morning. That's when that little girl, Stella, woke me up and said, "You know what, Dad? It's time for my breakfast," and that breakfast every day, Nutrisource, which she absolutely loves. I'm telling you now, if I don't get a wake-up call from Stella between about 5:50 and 6:30, I'm shocked. And that is because she's got to have her Nutrisource. NutrisourcePetFoods.com to find a retailer near you. NutrisourcePetFoods.com. We're going to make our official Vikings picks here in just a moment. But if my Justin Jefferson prediction is any indication, the Vikings offense is going to rain down hail on the Philadelphia Eagles defense. Who should they call if that happens, Declan?
Hail Ace Repair, Phil. So if you get some dents in that spleen or in that body or in that hat of yours, because you maybe get burned from those Vikings Eagles predictions, which I don't think you will, but maybe you left the car out and you got some hail damage because it was pretty nasty spring and summer here in Minnesota. Go check out our guy Adam at Hail Ace. He works with the insurance companies to handle your claims from start to finish. With hail damage claims do not raise your insurance rate, so he will handle all that work for you. He's a loyal and dedicated Vikings fan as well. You can book your appointment. It's an easy-to-use website, hailace.com, to learn more. He has over 16 years of experience with hail damage in South St. Paul. Go to hailace.com to book your appointment now.
Also, Judd, do you have a Minnesota Lottery Viking scratch-off ticket nearby by chance?
I got one right here. Because guess what? Guess what, folks? The Vikings are trying to win big in week 2. You don't have to wait for week 2. You can win big right now with $10.2 million in total cash prizes. It's time to go big with the lottery's big ticket scratch game. It's so big, it even has huge second chance prizes too. The lottery, just say I'm in, must be 18 or older to go big. Imagine all the Vikings season tickets you could buy if you pick up one of these suckers and win.
So let's get into what some of the sports books are saying about the Vikings Eagles here. And we'll start with Action Network, which it's a sports betting media platform that takes a lot of different opinions from different sources. So how about this? So a lot was made, rightfully so, for 5 or 6 years. Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football. He was 0-7 at one point. And then I think his first ever Monday night, was it against the Bears or the Cowboys a couple years back?
No, that was a Monday night game. He is, I believe, now 2-9, and both wins are against the Bears. The last 2 games too, I believe.
So he is 2-0 in his last. He was 0-9 to start.
Yep.
And then, this must be a misprint here. So I'm just going to read this. Trender blip. Kirk Cousins is 2-9 straight up and against the spread on Monday Night Football in his career. He has won and covered 2 straight after 9 consecutive losses. So he was 0-9 between 2014 and 19, and then 2-0 between 2020 and 21. And after the first one, when he finally broke the seal, we got this glorious soundbite from Mike Zimmer.
So I heard it all week long, right? 0-9 on Monday night. Yeah. You like how this tastes? Yeah. You like that?
He blew the line. He blew the line, man.
He didn't just blow it. It's disturbing how it sounds.
Dude, he had a chance to fire that thing up. You like that? He didn't even know the line because he doesn't care that much about Kirk. So, let me ask you this. Do you think we've seen a turning of the corner here? Primetime Kirk, he's undefeated on Monday Night Football since 2019.
Well, it's 2 victories against the Bears, which the Vikings have but the Vikings do have problems, especially against the Bears in Chicago. So I'm not going to dismiss it completely. But you know what? I am willing to do this right now. I am willing to throw out what we know about Kirk until he proves that it's still true. So, like, if he you know what? He's got his coach now. He's got clearly confidence that he has lacked. He's empowered. So I would say this. I'm giving Kirk a clean slate to check off new boxes in Kirk's career, starting with this game.
Okay. That's fair. Okay, FanDuel here has a nice little write-up. This game is slated I think it might have opened as a pick'em, but right now I believe most sportsbooks have the Eagles as 2-point favorites. But This game at one point maybe was slated as a pick'em. They write, both of these teams feature dynamic quarterback wide receiver duos and defenses capable of making big plays. That is why, excuse me.
Whoa.
I'm getting emotional here.
Choked up.
Just
okay,
thinking
dude.
about
it's only 1 win.
A trip back to Philadelphia. This is why the support of the crowd will play such a big role in this matchup. Philadelphia has posted an 8-2 record in its last 10 home games against Minnesota. Jefferson ran wild in week 1. It'll be up to Darius Slay and James Bradbury to keep him under control. The prediction from FanDuel is a game-winning field goal by the Eagles late, but here are the betting trends. Vikings are 5-12 against the spread in their last 17 games against Philadelphia, so not good. The total has hit the over in 9 of Minnesota's last 11 away games, so higher scoring games than usual on the road for the Vikings. Philadelphia is 0-5 straight up in its last 5 week 2 games. It's weird.
Interesting.
A week 2 losing streak for Philadelphia. And the total is at the over in each of Philadelphia's last 5 home games. So Vikings road games, Eagles home games lately have been higher scoring affairs on the over. So let's get to our picks here, boys. We'll start with Judd. The Eagles are 2-point favorites right now. 50% of the bets are on the Vikings. So 50-50. But only 38% of the money is on the Vikings. So a lot of money pouring in on Philadelphia for this game. So who do you got? Who do you got to cover? Who do you got to win?
So it's 2.5 officially right now.
2 right now.
2. Okay, so
You can get it 2.5 some
Vikings
places, but it's largely 2-point. Eagles are 2-point favorites.
I think it's going to be a close game. I think Philadelphia wins, and they probably at 2. They probably cover because they probably win by 3 or like that. So I'm going to go Philadelphia. I think it's a close game. I think the Vikings, I'll be very surprised if the Vikings lay an egg. So if the Vikings go in and get done, I'd be surprised by that. And I do believe that the last time, if I'm not mistaken, that these two teams played in Philadelphia was 2018, a year after the conference championship debacle. And Kirk played pretty well. He threw that great pass to Thielen down the sideline. So I don't know that the stage is going to frighten Kirk. I don't think it's probably going to. So, but I just... Philadelphia is a good team. They're at home. To me, it's dangerous to get super excited about the Vikings off of one game. I think that they're building something here. I don't know that it's close to being there yet. So I see Philadelphia winning this game in a close game.
Yeah, Kirk's been pretty brutal mostly on Monday Night Football in his career. Yeah, those 2 wins just against the Bears. I mean, his passer rating even for Kirk is pretty low. It's at 89 on Monday Night Football in his career. He's been sacked a ton, like 22 times in those 11 games. So he's getting beaten up before. But I just feel like with the new offense and with the new vibes that the Vikings have, and with the defense, from my original point, being able to hopefully suffocate Jalen Hurts, I think the Vikings upset the Eagles, and they cover, and they beat them by 3 points or more. So I do think the Vikings end up being victorious. They get a big road win in Philadelphia, and they'll cover.
I think they lose a close game. But I'm so 50-50 on this game that I would take the Vikings to cover. So then I get a close. If the Vikings lose a game by 1 or 2 as a push, if the Eagles kick a game-winning field goal to win it, 31-30 or 28-27 or something like that, then I would cash. But I think they play well. I think Jefferson goes off again, but I'm not quite ready to pick them to win this game. But I'm super 50-50. So I will take the Vikings to cover, but officially I will say that the Eagles win this game. So my margin there is like I'm basically saying the Eagles are going to win by 1 to get what I want on both sides of this thing. But it really, to go back to what Judd said at the beginning of the show, this is one of those games, man, where like if you win this game, it's kind of blast off. If they win this game, there's going to be a lot of people and projection websites that list them as maybe one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the NFL. Like what? Let's go down that road for a second. If they win this game on Monday night, national TV, Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Kevin O'Connell, Kirk Cousins partnership on full display at its best, Justin Jefferson. What is the world saying about the Vikings on Tuesday morning?
If Jefferson has as good a game as you're saying, Phil, I think that he is the focal point of what is seen as an unlocked offense that Kirk is driving and Jefferson is starring in. If they win this game, and it's impressive, I think what we're going to see is that they are going to be regarded as one of the, not the top team, but one of the top teams in the conference, right? Because it's going to be Buffalo, it's going to be Kansas City, it's going to be, the Chargers probably still, but they will be seen, probably along with the Rams. But there will be an excitement about this team, and it's growing right now. So like a win in Philly is going to just expedite it. With the enthusiasm growing nationally, I think that you're probably right. I think they'll probably be like ranked 5th or 6th if they win.
It feels like Yeah, it feels like they would have like the 2017 Rams vibes when Sean McVay got there, and it was like, oh, they're doing this with Jared Goff. Oh, they have the #1 offense. Where did this come from? This is a sexy, fun team. It feels like it'll have similar rise. It's an easy comparison to make. 'Cause obviously, Kevin O'Connell's from the Rams coaching tree, but it'll feel kind of like that 2017 Rams vibes of, man, this kind of came out of left field, but man, they're a fun team to watch and they score a lot of points. I think it'll be kind of similar to that.
Yeah. You know, they do say that playing in Philadelphia is like playing in a house of horrors, a haunted house of just mean fans throwing things and whatnot. So if you want to simulate the feeling you get walking into Philadelphia for a football game, where in the Twin Cities can you go, Declan?
You want to go to the Nowhere Haunted House in Inver Grove Heights. They have a weekend attraction and a daytime low scare option for more daring thrill
scare
seekers.
Option.
Insomnia.
Yes, I'll take the low scare option.
Yeah, I'll take the low scare option. But Insomnia, it's a hands-on, full-on immerse experience. It's an 18-plus event that does require a signed waiver. So you do have to sign a waiver to go to this. But it's another great thing about it is you get to pick the time and date. So if you want to get spooked, at like maybe 11 a.m., maybe don't get spooked if you're a little more afraid of the dark. You can go to the daytime. Then you walk out like, oh, it's daytime. I can still go enjoy my Saturday. You can kind of pick the time and place you want to get spooked at. You can book your tickets at nowherehauntedhouse.com. Book your tickets now at nowherehauntedhouse.com.
Sign the waiver. You got to sign the waiver. Like if you're going to do this, you got to sign that. You got to go at night. Sign the waiver.
I agree. You need the full experience, man. Give me that full experience. Dude, last year I found up in the Pacific Northwest, I found a haunted house. It was like a tribute to all of the old scary movies from the 80s and 90s.
Oh, yeah.
It was a 40-minute walk through a cornfield.
Oh, I've done
pay
cornfield.
like $20. It was unbelievable, dude. We're talking
are they
like
chasing
Freddy
you?
Krueger. They don't touch you, but they are scaring the crap out of you and popping out of old cars that are just sitting in the cornfield and stuff. It was nuts, and I loved it. By the way, a shout out to our friends at Federated. So Federated's been helping businesses maximize their level of success through risk management tools and resources. And they do it with these 4 cornerstones: equity, integrity, teamwork, and respect. These 4 cornerstones create the foundation that supports all interactions and decision-making at Federated. Find out more how Federated can help your business at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. So there it is. All right, we think it's going to be a fun game on Monday. Judd and I want to see it before we officially go there. Declan has them starting 4-0 anyways on his preseason schedule prediction. But damn, that's going to be fun. And don't forget about Vikings Vent Line, the most fan-friendly, interactive show in all of Minnesota sports, maybe the world. We're not sure. You can find it exclusively on the Purple Daily YouTube channel right after Monday Night Football. See you guys, Purple Daily.